Welcome back, Wisco Fanatics fans. This week on the show, we are going to talk Packers versus Bears. We're going to do that preview for you. Got a lot of good stuff. Tyler and I cooked up some good stats. We are going to cover the past week of games for the Milwaukee Bucks and what to look forward to with them. And we're also going to look forward to the Badgers basketball. We're going to recap their game against Marquette and their upcoming schedule. They have a couple conference games and then some non-conference before we really start the Big Ten schedule. So with that being said, we are going to talk Packers and Bears.
All right. So looking at the Packers offense, yeah, not a little one. It sucks. Looking at the Packers versus the Bears, looking at the Packers offense versus the Bears defense, a couple things I want to throw out. Bakhtiari's not going to play, so that's already a done deal. Aaron Rodgers probably not going to practice at all, and he will play, so that's how that's going to go. And then other than that, I mean, the Packers are almost healthy on the offensive side of the ball. Randall Cobb's questionable.
Yep.
And then we still don't have any news on Josh Myers when he's going to be back. So what are you looking at for the Packers offense versus the Bears defense?
Well, the Bears defense is actually pretty decent this year. I mean, they've given up points. They've given up a lot more points than we're used to them giving up. So they're giving up 23.9. And rush yards, they're giving up 120. So A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones are going to be massive this week, especially A.J. Dillon, I think. I think we're going to continue the mold from the last couple of weeks. They're going to allow Aaron Jones to get healthier as the playoffs come up, and they're just going to hand the ball off to the big fella. Talking about that, I actually have a pretty cool stat on both of those running backs that I wanted to give out here. Aaron Jones needs 138 total yards to get to 1,000 total yards from scrimmage this year, and Tyler's prediction of 65 catches is still in play. He has 39 catches this year, so if he goes back to his old Aaron Jones self, I could see him putting up those 65 catches.
He needs to average about 5 a game for the rest of the year.
A.J. Dillon is aiming for his 5th game in a row with at least 90 scrimmage yards. So he's catching the ball, he's running the ball, and these are tough grinded out games that we're doing. Bad weather, offensive line backups. Like, we're going against some good defenses the last couple of weeks. So he's really making a name for himself, I'd say. As far as the Bears defense, Mario Edwards Jr. and Akeem Hicks are both listed as questionable for the game. Akeem Hicks, I'm really looking at because that could really be a big difference. Do that. They have a suspect run defense the way it is. So if they already don't have Mac, so if they lose Akeem Hicks, that's something that could really, really change this game. What's going on, James? How you doing, buddy?
All right, so for me, I think honestly the recipe of success is to basically do the same thing you did. The last time they played the Bears, it's going to be doing the quick throws, the pre-snap motion to kind of just slow down their pass rush really any way you can. I think I saw the Bears are 3rd in the league in sacks actually. So just trying to slow down that pass rush any way you can, especially with the puzzle piece offensive line that they have now with Elton Jenkins being out. We're going to see more of the A.J. Dillon complemented by Aaron Jones instead of vice versa while they still ramp up Aaron Jones back to fully healthy. You don't want to mess around with knee sprains, especially when Aaron Jones only missed 1 week. Having the bye definitely helps. I was really, really surprised to see him back for the Rams game, to see him play the week before the bye. Which, it's just a testament to how well these professional athletes keep themselves in shape, honestly. It's crazy. Same with Rashawn Gary. He only missed 1 game with a hyperextended elbow. That's just crazy. I mean,
that one's more crazy to me, to be completely honest with you. Like I really thought he broke that thing into pieces the way he was rolling around on the ground, man. So
yeah, that was weird. One other comment I had on the offense is, did you see what Aaron Rodgers said today?
I did, but I'm
Rob Domofsky shared the quote that. I'm just gonna pull up the quote because I don't want to misquote it, so I'm just gonna pull it up because it was funny.
Yes,
I got it right here. Rodgers talking about his "I still own you" comment. He said it was to Bears fans and doesn't know if he'll hear it from players on Sunday. He said at some point it will be what I said will be used against me, but I have no regrets for saying what I said, and I honestly obviously think the record speaks for itself. So Jake actually has some interesting stats about Aaron Rodgers when it comes to playing against the Bears and playing on Sunday night. So I'll let Jake dish that out.
Okay. So the first couple are going to be kind of just Packers versus Bears overall, and then I'll dive into the Aaron Rodgers ones. The Packers have won 5 straight versus Chicago, and 10 of the last 11. So it's the oldest rivalry in the league. As you see, James' comment says, "What's up, guys? Oldest rivalry in the league next week." We know the history of it, but the Packers have really been dominant, for a while now. The Bears haven't won at Lambeau Field since 2015. That was the Brett Favre enshrinement night, so that was, to be honest with you, the way Brett Favre left us, I felt like he kind of deserved it at that point, but it is what it is. The Packers are also 0-2 after a bye under Matt LaFleur. So all these wins in a row, all this dominance by the Packers is very one-sided, and then you have a stat where the Packers are 0-2 winless in the last 2 years under LaFleur. So with that, you pair that stat with one of Tyler's stats last week, and that is that the Packers are undefeated in the month of December under Matt LaFleur. So it's like, something's got to give here. Is Matt LaFleur going to get his first loss in December? Are they going to finally get a win after the bye? So, I mean, we got all that. So then we get to Aaron Rodgers, right? So I also have a Sunday Night Football stat on Aaron Rodgers because this game is going to be Sunday night. Rodgers, 13 starts at home versus Chicago. He has 32 touchdowns and 4 interceptions with a 110 rating. He whoops their ass. He likes the Bears. When he sees the Bears in the schedule, he owns them. He really does. So Rodgers on Sunday Night Football, this is just the past 4 Sunday Night Football games that he's had. This is an individual stat. 13 touchdowns, 1 interception, a 129.7 rating. That is an average, by the way, which is insane. He is looking for his 5th straight Sunday Night Football game with at least 2 touchdown passes and a 120 rating. Those are all just crazy numbers. We're throwing a high touchdown, low interception. Yeah, James, I mean...
Yeah, it's true.
James just made a comment. He put in quotes. He said, "All my life, I fucking own you." And then he wrote LOL after it. And it's like, as a Packers fan, that feels amazing to see that and know that that's a quote that's out there on the internet, because now we can share that with Bears fans whenever we want, right? Bears fans, they just hide whenever they see that quote. Like, "Oh, wait till Rodgers leaves, blah, blah, blah."
Mm-hmm.
Well,
dude, that's the thing that I say
there.
every time that comes up. The thing I always say is you have to cheer for the Packers to suck because the Bears can't ever be good. That's the same with the Vikings and the Lions. Like, you have to actively hope that our team gets worse because you can't hope for yours to get better.
Do you know what I'm really getting sick of, dude? Like, this is real me, real quick. I'm getting really sick and tired of Vikings fans. Whenever I was poking at them, right, for losing to the Lions, because that's hilarious. How do you lose to the Lions? You're the first one, right? And they're just like, "Well, we were good enough to beat the Packers." I'm like, this is why we say that's your Super Bowl. This is exactly why we say that. Because you have to bring that game up. Okay, listen. It's the same with the Saints fans too, James, by the way. So we could be like, "Ha, you lost to so-and-so 36-13. You're like, "Yeah, but we beat the Packers." All right, good talk. We're 9-3 now, so what are you? Not in the playoffs? Okay, congratulations. Well, I'm glad that we helped you not make the playoffs. That's good. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, focus on the topic at hand.
It's the same thing when Bears fans, Vikings fans, Lions fans, and they say, "Oh, I can't wait to watch the Packers choke in the NFC Championship game again." Okay, when your team's at home on the couch.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks losing in the playoffs. It's heartbreaking, but I would much rather be watching Packer games into January than, like, Christmas being, like, the last thing to look forward to, and then you're like, "Oh, yeah, we only have one more game," and then, we're done until next year.
Well, now Chicago fans this year have a false belief in the the Bulls, so
yeah,
they're gonna believe that the Bulls are actually something.
We have to wait for like a month yet to talk about that. It sucks. The Bucks don't play the Bulls until like the end of January. Like, who the hell made that schedule?
For real, and we only play them 3 times. I thought you played every division opponent 4 times.
Which is weird because that's.
I guess not.
Yeah, that's weird. I actually have a stat about the Central Division that I'll give you when we talk about the Bucks. So.
Yeah, I have some good stats in the Bucks too, and the Bucks, when we get there, we're not stressing about the Bucks right now. They're dominating. They're doing what they got to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
He said I had to listen. Okay. James said I had to listen to Falcons and Panthers fans say that the last 4 years, haha, y'all can't win in the playoffs. Well, their team is at home, not the Bucks fans, because they just came back recently. That's true. We know exactly how you feel, man, because Bears, they made the playoffs last year, but did they really make the playoffs? That was basically like a free win for the Saints last year, let's be honest.
Didn't the Bears lose into the playoffs?
I think
Didn't
they
they
did.
only get in because somebody else lost?
I think so. And then they played that Nickelodeon game, and then they didn't score until
That's right, dude.
They didn't score until like 30 seconds into the game. Yeah. So they're on Nickelodeon.
That's so appropriate. All the Bears games should be on Nickelodeon.
And then, dude, they're getting smacked around by the Saints, dude. It was bad.
Justin Fields probably still watches Nickelodeon.
Probably, dude. He's a young little baby. And, Bears fans get all salty when we say stuff and some ultra biscuit. Yeah, I know. I thought that, too. That was weird, James. I remember that. He won the MVP. It's like the Nickelodeon valuable player or whatever. But,
should stand for not valuable player.
Not very, whatever. I almost got inappropriate there. Bears fans get all emotional when we talk about Justin Fields. Talking about Fields, Nagy said that he's going to be starting this week. So
yeah, he's their fifth consecutive savior.
Yeah, and it's like they get mad because I was in discussions and debates and stuff, and I was talking about rookie quarterbacks, and what I said was, I think Trevor Lawrence is just better. Like, I think he's way better. I think he can throw on time. He's bigger. He's stronger. He's still got speed. He's not as fast. Right. He doesn't have to be because he could throw the ball better,
Right.
And they always get mad, and they're like, ooh, what about now? What about now? Dude, are you comparing – dude, the Bears team compared to the Jaguars team is like the Packers against the Bears. It's not close. The Bears would wash the Jaguars, let's be honest. The Bears' talent is much better than the Jaguars.
Especially on defense.
Oh, 100%. So it's like, why are you guys even comparing it? And then they're like, oh, give it a year. Give it a year. Let's see what he's like without Nagy. But they don't want to give the same respect to Trevor Lawrence, who's stuck over there with, Grandpa trying to have sex with these 19-year-old girls. I'm like, that's a mess over there.
I mean, the other thing that Bears fans do with Justin Fields when you say, he's not good is, oh, what about Jordan Love? It's like you're comparing your starting quarterback to our backup. It's sad.
Yeah, that's true. They do that. And they're like, oh, when Love starts, we're going to give you crap. Okay. Well, we've had two great quarterbacks in a row. We've seen our team win a Super Bowl in our lifetime. So congratulations on that. Because every person I talked to not born before 1985. I know that for a fact. It is what it is, man. I love Bears Week. I'm actually going to be at the game. This will be my second straight game. Nice. There's going to be an opportunity for me to meet a couple Badgers football players, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm going to try to.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
I'm going to try to hook up with them, get a photo, see if I can get an autograph maybe because Brelon Allen looks like he's going to be the real deal. And
give me a Kimmer DK autograph.
I'll see if I can. I'll try, buddy. But yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be fun. It's going to be cold though. But we'll get there in a second here.
All right, so a couple of things that I want to throw out there before we talk about the Packers defense and the Bears offense. Packers are 5th in time of possession, and this goes to the Packers running game, and it's really a testament to A.J. Dillon. So he's been so effective. I mean, Jake already mentioned he's going for what is now his 6th consecutive game of 90 scrimmage yards. 5th? Okay, so he's got 4, so he's going for his 5th. So Chicago is 23rd in time of possession. So that's how the Packers are going to win this game. The Packers are going to run the ball. They're going to have long, sustained drives, similar to what they did with the Rams for a while. They had a couple 6-minute drives, so they're going to look to sustain drives and keep the clock going. We'll see what happens with that. James said, I'm not going to lie, I'd rather the NFL go back to a 16 playoff from each conference. The second seed deserves a bye as well.
Hey, man.
Honestly, if you want the top two,
you heard what Ricky Bobby said. You ain't first, you're last, buddy. That's how it works.
Yeah, and I mean, in college football, NBA, MLB, there's really no buys anywhere else.
Yeah.
So Major League Baseball does a weird thing where they do the 3-game playoff for the first series, which still is weird to me, but that's a discussion for another time, and that's something that baseball is going to be discussing in their during their lockout. But that's a whole another discussion.
I was going to say baseball's got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, and they're dealing with the worst commissioner in professional sports, so that's going to be rough for them. The other one more thing I want to mention before we switch to the Packers defense is the Packers, they're doing okay. So I've talked a lot about third downs with the Packers. Packers are up to 11th in the NFL on third downs, and Chicago 29th.
Do you know why that is?
Because they suck.
Well, for the Bears, yes. And this is laugh so hard. Oh, he made a joke. He laughed so hard I went to a cold. So this is the reason when we're watching the games and I'm teaching my stepson and I'm teaching my girlfriend, and they always get mad at the 2-yard runs. You need to run the ball. You absolutely need to run the ball. I don't care if it's a 2-yard run, 2 plays in a row. You have to establish that physicality. It doesn't matter. If you run the ball 2 times, say you get 2 yards or 4 yards, you just put yourself in a manageable third down position.
Yep.
You can run the ball again. You can pass the ball. You can go deep if you want. Like, there's a lot of things that you can do, and you have to run the ball. That's why we needed to pay Aaron Jones.
Yes.
There's still Packers fans out there that believe that we should not have paid Aaron. Absolutely ridiculous to me.
And I've said it before, I believe he's the third best dual threat running back in the NFL. And up until this season, he's been pretty durable as well. So I have really, honestly, no complaints about Aaron Jones, especially when you add in the fact that he's gotten really good at being a blocker. He's done some great blocks this year on guys coming through. That was one of the things that Jamal Williams was a specialist in, and Aaron Jones has done a really, really, really good job at getting better at that.
Well, then you add in that he's the nominee for the Packers for the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. So that's pretty awesome. All Packers fans know that if you follow, you know what kind of guy and how he carries himself. He's a fun-loving guy wearing the sombrero and the sunglasses, but he was raised by a military family. So he's very respectful, says sir and ma'am, and he's just a great overall individual. So he's definitely a guy, if you are one of those parents that thinks that, athletes are role models, Aaron Jones is one for your kid to follow.
Absolutely.
That's what I would say. Not every athlete is a role model, but some are. That's how I would answer that question.
So to your point of needing those 2 and 4 yard runs, I pulled it up. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon both average 4.2 yards per carry. Now, if you get 4 yards every play, that's a first down every time. That's a 3rd and 2 every possession. 3rd and 2 every set of downs, and you're converting every time. So use the run to set up the pass. And honestly, what that's going to do is, I know there's a lot of speculation as to what's going to happen after this season. I think now the attention has turned a little bit more from Aaron Rodgers to Russell Wilson, because the Seahawks are in a much worse position than the Packers are. So I think it's more likely that Russell Wilson ends up on a new team next year than Aaron Rodgers. And what this can do is setting up the run game before you set up the passing game with Aaron Rodgers, whereas in the Mike McCarthy era, it was absolutely the other way around. This is something that could extend Aaron Rodgers' career.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
So, looking at these 2 young backs, Aaron Jones is locked up for the next 4 years. A.J. Dillon's going to be locked up for the next 3 years. That's something that could really extend Aaron Rodgers' career. And we could, end up talking about, not having Jordan Love as a starting quarterback until, 2026. And that's if the Packers even decide to keep him after his rookie contract, if Rodgers plays that long. So, using this running game to set up this passing game and how well it's working. And then, you get into my love for play action. I talk about that, but
that's your favorite play, bro.
I love play action, dude. It's because I think I love it so much because Rodgers is so good at throwing on the run that, if you play action and you bootleg Rodgers out, he's gonna find whoever's open and it's gonna hit him right here.
Well, you take into account that Rodgers' ball placement is literally second to none, and like you said, he's throwing on the run. And now you're giving him an extra second to dissect the defense when he rolls out. It just makes sense. It makes too much sense.
And honestly, he's not he's not slow. Like he's not blowing anybody away with his speed. Like he's not going to be.
I don't know. Ask Jalen. Ask Jalen.
He hit him with the pump fake though.
I don't care. He still beat his ass in the corner. He's 37 years old. Damn it. 38 now. 38 now.
Yeah. We just celebrated both Aaron's birthdays and Giannis's birthday, but we're going to talk about Giannis's birthday too.
We are.
But now let's flip it over. Let's talk about the Packers defense versus the Bears offense. We've talked a little bit about Justin Fields, but you really have it nailed down with Matt Nagy and the Bears passing offense.
All right, here we go. Here's my favorite stat of the week that I found because this one is hilarious.
You should make this your stat of the week for Friday. That would be funny.
I think I will. Okay. So the Bears are averaging 173.8. They're not even averaging 180 pass yards a game. That's terrible. That is absolutely dead last in the NFL. Compared to Sid Luckman, who was the quarterback for the Bears in 1943 to 1947, Sid Luckman teams were averaging 189.5 pass yards per game. So Matt Nagy's passing offense in 2021 is literally less efficient than the Bears passing offense in the 1940s. How bad is that?
Oh, that's awesome.
That is god awful, dude. I mean,
that's my favorite stat so far on the show.
How do you come back from that? Seriously, there's no way Nagy makes it past this year. There's absolutely no way.
Was he hired as an offensive coach?
Yeah, he was the offensive coordinator on the Chiefs, dude. Yeah.
And they've never figured out their offensive line situation, but they've put talent on that team. Like Justin Fields.
Talent.
Like Justin Fields is solid. All we heard from Bears fans about was how good that Cole Kmet's going to be and that he's going to be better than Tunyon, which wasn't going to be the case. But, I mean, Allen Robinson is arguably a top 15 receiver when he's healthy, which he practiced limited. David Montgomery is a really good running back. He really is. The Bears are actually a pretty good running game. They average like 125 rushing yards per game. David Montgomery didn't practice today, though, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. That'll be something the Bears are going to really need if they have any hopes of winning this game. But, I mean, Chicago is 30th in the NFL in points per game.
Yep.
And the Packers are 5th in points allowed on defense.
The Packers are literally top 10 in all major categories. Total, pass yards, rush yards, and points. Those are my major 4. That's what I look at.
Now this we talked about this a little bit today in one of our group chats about Gutekunst potentially being the GM of the year, and I said that the hiring of Joe Barry should be something that's in consideration when you talk about who should win GM of the year, because I really believe it's going to be between the Packers and the Patriots for that award. And the hiring of Joe Barry and how improved this defense has been. When you throw in the improvement of a guy like Dean Lowry and the additions of Devondre Campbell and Eric Stokes and Rasul Douglas, and Chris Barnes is getting better the last couple weeks. I mean, the way that they've sustained pass rush with guys being hurt. I mean, Za'Darius has played one game this year, right?
He played like 15 snaps. Yeah, he played 15 snaps.
So Rashawn Gary missed a game, and obviously that game we really could have used him. Preston Smith has been helpful this year. He's due to get a bonus if he keeps playing the way that he is. I mean, Kenny Clark is just an absolute monster. I mean, Joe Barry deserves a lot of credit, and credit to Gutekunst for going out and getting him as the defensive coordinator. So I think that's something that really should kind of boost Gutekunst's claim to potentially win the GM of the Year award.
I 100% agree with everything that you said. So there was one other stat that I looked at that I thought was very good for the Packers. The Packers are middle of the road. I did average yards per play, and this is just for the offenses, not for the defense. The Packers are averaging 5.7 yards per play on offense. That's pretty normal. You stay ahead of the sticks, you're good to go, right? Mm-hmm. They're 15th. Mm-hmm. The Bears are under 5 yards. They're only at 4.9. If you're only getting 4 yards per play, that's terrible. They're 29th in the NFL. If you look at any stat for the Bears on offense, they're bottom third. And they're damn near 30th in almost every offensive stat.
So it's
just
basically
like
their rushing
the Bears,
offense is the only thing holding them.
if they have a chance, yeah, they run the ball, and then they run the ball a little bit more than on top of that. So I mean, if the Bears have any chance of winning this game, the Packers are going to need to turn the ball over, which they don't do. They're going to need to run the ball down our throat, which, if you look, very hard to do this year. The Packers' run defense is tough, and especially when the Packers are going to be scoring at an elite pace and dragging out these drives. You're going to have limited drives in this game. It's going to be tough. There's not a way I see the Bears winning this game. The Packers are just better in every element. And it is what it is. I'm sorry, Chicago.
All right. So the last thing we're going to mention that pertains to the defense is Jair Alexander has been designated to return from IR, which means he has 3 weeks to be added to the active roster. He's not going to play this week. Even if he practices all week, it's probably going to be limited practice, but he's not playing against the Bears.
You're a big guy.
Yeah, I'm here. If you had to pick one game where you thought that Jair Alexander was going to be back, what game do you think it would be?
Well, we got the Ravens next week.
Yep. And then Cleveland, Minnesota, Detroit.
Then Cleveland and Minnesota, Detroit, yeah. If he's not back by the Minnesota game, I don't know if he'll be back this year. But
he has to be back by that game. They got 3 weeks, so Minnesota would be the last game. Yeah.
So if he comes back to practice today, I think he's coming back next week. That's how I feel.
I agree.
He's not going to play this week, 100% not going to play, but he'll come back next week. That's how I feel.
Yeah, the Baltimore game is the one that I'm looking at. The last thing we heard on Za'Darius is that LaFleur and team doctors have agreed to have him play at least 2 games before the end of the season. So for Za'Darius, we're looking at the Minnesota game. Mm-hmm. All right. Do you have anything else Packers related before you want to throw out your score prediction?
No, man, it's just gonna be a bloodbath. That's how I feel.
All right. Oh, let's get
my score prediction.
Get Jake's.
I took into account that
Go ahead.
You want my score prediction, right? Okay. So my score prediction, I took into account how Aaron Rodgers has been on fire the last couple of games. Last 2 games, he has 692 yards passing and 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. He looks to be getting right back in the MVP. People are getting healthier. With that being said, I have a blowout on the books. The Packers are favored by 12.5 points, which is absolutely insane to me. The over-under for this game is 43.5. Well, Tyler is gone real quick. Let me do this real quick.
I was pressuring myself to hopefully take away some of our lag that we have here.
Okay. So, the weather report for this game, I wanted to get in there before I gave my score prediction. If you're in Wisconsin, you know the weather. We got some snow coming tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. We're going to get in between 3 to 9 inches, and we're going to have snow. And then this game is obviously a Sunday night game. So you know it's cold as a mother in Wisconsin at nighttime. So the weather is going to be 27 degrees, southwest winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour. So you add that 3 to 9, say we get 9 inches of snow and 27 degrees, that's football weather, baby. We all watched it with the Patriots and the Bills on Monday night. It's not going to be, windy like that, but it's going to be cold. And the hits hurt a little extra.
You know what that reminds me of?
Hopefully A.J. Dillon. What's up?
That's exactly what I was just going to say. The A.J. Dillon against the Tennessee Titans last year.
Yep. That's what I was just going to say. Yeah. All right. But my score prediction is 37 to 10. That's my score prediction.
All right. We have the Bears scoring some amount of points. I have the Packers 30 to 10. I do think they're really going to try to drag the game out, try to make those 6, 7, 8 minute drives, and just try to control the time of possession. So I'm going to say 30 to 10. James, don't worry, we got your back. We'll destroy the Bears for you this week. All right, you have anything else you want to say about the Packers before we talk about the Bucks?
No, man. Let's talk some Bucks, baby.
All right. Well, we had a pretty exciting game with the Bucks versus the Hornets last Wednesday. An exciting ending to that one. What did you want to say about the Bucks and Hornets game?
First of all, LaMelo Ball is going to be a superstar. Whether not just off of his play, but the NBA really wants him to be a superstar. So they want a superstar over there down south on the East Coast, down there in Charlotte, so they can kind of have a superstar all over the map. But this kid's good, man. He's always had a great handle. He's always been a good passer, but his ability now to finish at the rim, and he made 8 threes, which was his career high against us.
Yeah.
He had 36, 5, and 9. He was kind of clowning us early in the game. We were down 41-25 in the first quarter, so that was a little bit of a rough start.
I got some interesting stats for you to go with that. So
Yeah.
the first quarter, the Hornets shot 17 threes in the first quarter.
Yep.
And they made 10 of them. You mentioned LaMelo Ball balling out. He had his career high 36. Kelly Oubre shot well, which was kind of weird because he shot horrible all of last year. And then he finally had a good shooting game. Naturally, it happens against the Bucks because that just seems to be how it goes. But Kelly Oubre and LaMelo Ball combined were 13 of 26 on threes, so 50% between those two. And then those two combined with Bridges had 83 of their points. That's a big deal for their main three guys there. And that doesn't even, add in Gordon Hayward, who's a pretty solid player. But yes, I will let you continue now. The 41-25 lead after the first quarter.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was, like I said, it was just a little bit of a rough start. But the Bucks, they have championship heart, championship pedigree, and
a big three.
And when all three big three, you knew what I was going to say. When all three of the big three play, the Bucks are 11-0. They're undefeated. People don't beat us. I have stats I'll get into when we get to the last game that is pretty interesting in my opinion. But, I mean, Giannis, he had 40 points. 40, 12, 9 assists. That's an absolute monster game. 40 points, including the game-winning layup, which was not easy. That was a tough finish. And they had him coming downhill, which I thought was brilliant.
Middleton talked about that, too. Middleton gave him credit for how tough that finish was to go under and then put the spin on the ball like that. Middleton gave him credit for that in the postgame.
You don't see a lot of 6'11", 7-foot guys doing that finish. I'll just say that. To have that body control that long, that's an elite advantage that he has. Chris added 21, 6, and 5, and Drew 11 for craziest game of all time. But he still played well. The Bucks made 14 threes. They grabbed 45 rebounds. 29 assists is what I really, really like. That everybody's touching the ball and moving, staying active. So, with all that being said, they came away with a win. So that's all that matters, man.
So, a couple of things that I wanted to throw out there with this is Giannis had the game-winning layup, but Chris Middleton scored 5 points in the last minute of this game. Chris Middleton hit a three that gave him the lead at 123-122, and then made 2 free throws before Giannis got his game-winning layup. So to me, the Bucks have 2 closers, and that's scary for basically every other team in the league because, I mean, the Nets and the Lakers, when healthy, are the only other teams that I could really think of that have 2 closers.
Yeah.
So that's league notice type stuff, especially with how well Drew's been playing the last couple weeks. I mean, the Bucks' big three is legit big three.
Oh, 100%.
Jake already mentioned the rebounding. The Bucks, 9 offensive rebounds to Charlotte's only 3 offensive rebounds. And then I want to shout out Grayson Allen. He was 3 for 5 on threes, finished with 16 points and 7 rebounds. if Grayson Allen can consistently get those rebounding numbers up, he gives all the effort on defense. He plays good defense most of the time. He's not as good a defender as Dante, but if he keeps doing that and putting up those rebound numbers, like we really could dangle Dante out there as a potential trade bait.
And there's some names. There's some names out there.
No, I want to wait until the Bucks are at least rumored to be interested before we talk about it. I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to get my hopes up.
I'm just saying, there's some names. Man.
I know there's names. There's one name. I don't care about any other names. That's one name out there. So,
I tag you every time I see his name.
I know. So, last thing with this game. DeMarcus Cousins made his Bucks debut after only one day of practice, which I think might be one of the reasons that he didn't play on Friday, in addition to the fact that it was a road game. But DeMarcus Cousins came in. He got 7 points and 4 rebounds in 11 minutes. So, that was a good game from the Bucks to get that win, especially after being down 16 points at the end of the first quarter. So, that's a good come-from-behind win, and then we have to talk about this really sucky Raptors game.
Yeah, so I tried to take the positive outlook on this. I mean, Mamu had a good game. I mean, Giannis didn't play in this game, so kind of sucked.
He was a late scratch, too, like a half an hour before the game.
Yeah, they lost to the Raptors 97-93, ending their winning streak. Mamu had a good game, though. That was the first person I wanted to point out. He had 8 points and 10 rebounds in 23 minutes. I thought he played pretty solid defense down there, and he cleaned up the board. So that's all we really asked for out of him. Chris Middleton, 22, 8 and 2. Drew Holiday was the leading scorer at 26. Bobby with a double-double. And something that we look for, that we're used to seeing, I would say, this year when Giannis doesn't play, is Pat Connaughton really get going. Connaughton only had 7 shot attempts in this game, and he only made 2 of them. He was 1 of 5 from three-point line.
God, he was so close on that last one, too.
I know. And it was like, after all the scrambling, everything that happened, he finally gets a look in the corner, and I'm like, oh, it's Pat! And he gets the ball, and I'm like, no! I wanted him to scratch it out, man. But, at the end of the day, I like the fight in this team, man. The Bucks are just dominant, and they don't get talked about enough like they should. I understand the talk about the Warriors. I'll be completely honest. Steph Curry's very close. He only needs 16 threes to break Ray Allen's record, by the way.
That'll probably happen in one game.
Probably. They play tonight. I forgot who they play tonight. Oh, they play, like, the Rockets or something like that. And then they play the Hornets. No, they play Philly on Saturday, and then they play the Knicks. And I'm like, oh, God, please happen against the Knicks. That would be so legendary. But I wrote down the field goal percentages and the rebounds. We tied for rebounds. Both teams had 47 rebounds. This is really where the game was won and lost for me. The Bucks had 16 assists and 13 turnovers. The Raptors had 20.
Season low 16 assists.
The Raptors had 23 assists and 13 turnovers. So those extra assists is just extra people working and wanting it a little bit more, which kind of sucks. But the Bucks this was just a bad shooting game.
It was honestly, it was a really sloppy game all around. It was just a really sloppy game. Like a lot of the reserve guys were getting minutes. Guys not getting back on defense. Just like you mentioned, the turnovers. Middleton started to get going in the second half. He doesn't get foul calls.
No,
I don't know if it's because people are looking at him as a shooter, or when he drives to the basket, he just doesn't get foul calls.
That includes last year too.
Yeah. It sucks. But speaking of foul calls, Coach Bud did actually win a challenge, so that's his second successful challenge on the year. And then, this would have been a nice game to have Dante. And, we could have used him on Van Vliet. He had 26 of his 29 in the second half. That's, just an unfortunate, it's good for him, but bad for the Bucks, obviously. There was...
I remember
some really questionable officiating in the second half at times. I thought they missed 2 travels on Toronto, and then they called one on Bobby, which was basically the same thing. And then there was one play where one of the Toronto players had a hand in Bobby's back as he was going up for a rebound, and that didn't get called. But I I don't ever want to say, the officiating cost you a game, but obviously it doesn't help. But what would have helped is if Pat would have made that 3 in the corner. He talked about it after the game. He's like, that's one I wish I could have back. He's like, I've made tons of those, and he has. I mean, I talked about it last week. Going into this week, he was shooting 41% on threes, and we're going to talk about Pat Connaughton more when we talk about the next 2 games. But just through the first 3 quarters, the Bucks were shooting 33.8%. That is rough.
Sheesh.
That is rough. They cut the game close. They were getting their free throws, but the last thing I wanted to mention with this game is Zora Stevenson was talking about it in between commercials about DeMarcus Cousins already having a positive impact in the huddle. So that's something that if he's bringing, I saw a lot of people when the Bucks were signing him calling him a head case and stuff like that, and that's just a thing where I think that's kind of a thing that he had with being in Sacramento, honestly, and then a little bit in New Orleans. And part of the reason that right, and I think part of that is being on bad teams.
Winning fixes everything, baby.
I think that's.
Hey, ask Russell Wilson. Ask him right now how he feels. That's all I'm saying, man.
And, people did the same thing when we traded for Grayson Allen. They're like, he's always bad. He's terrible. He did this, and this. It's like, yes, he was. He was those things. But he's cleaned it up, and he's on the Bucks, and he fits perfectly. And I feel the same way about DeMarcus Cousins. He said he's done bad things in the past. He gets hot once in a while, but, I mean, that's competitive nature, honestly. Yeah. If you want to talk about anybody who believes that they're among the best at what they do, they all have that killer mentality. They all do. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm not worried about DeMarcus Cousins having a negative effect on chemistry or anything like that. And I think as far as chemistry goes, I mean, it's all gonna work out. Everybody knows how likable of a guy Giannis is, and now as we move into the Miami Heat game, when the Bucks brought back Wesley Matthews, also, who is another good chemistry guy, a guy who's familiar with the team. I mean, George Hill is back with the team after being here 2 years ago. I mean, this team is really, really tight-knit, and I have no doubts that they're going to be welcoming in DeMarcus Cousins. And Bobby Portis already talked about loving what he brings to the team, so I see no reason not to think that DeMarcus Cousins can't be a good contributor to this team. Now, what we don't want to see with DeMarcus Cousins is anything more than 20 minutes a game until at least January. I saw a lot of people questioning why DeMarcus Cousins wasn't playing 30 minute right away. It's like he's not. I saw that. He does. Brook Lopez doesn't play 20 minutes when he's fully healthy, and he's been here for 4 years.
Oh man.
Like Brook Lopez usually only plays 25 to 28 minutes, and you want to bring a guy who's coming off of consecutive leg injuries to play 30 minats after a week with the team? Not even?
Right. And it's not like he's a small guy. Not like he's a small guy either,
And, he's like, oh, well, they said he's been working out, all offseason, 6 days a week. And it's like, okay, there's a difference between working out and playing NBA basketball. So just pump the brakes a little bit on DeMarcus Cousins. People just really got to be patient. NBA championships aren't won in November and December.
Nope.
They're won in May, June, and July.
I'll tell you what also contributes, and I've been waiting to say this. I was gonna try to wait until like halfway through the year, but apparently people don't get the message. Do you know what people don't take into consideration when we bring in these free agents? Bobby Portis, before he came here, he was kind of looked at as a head case too. Look at him in Chicago. Look at him in New York. Neither worked, and he was a hardworking guy that got rebounds and shot threes, and it wasn't working for him.
Really shoot threes here that much.
Oh, right. He really
bit, but he definitely, once he started working with the lethal shooter people, then he got nuts.
Yeah. But the word I want to say is culture. The culture that the Milwaukee Bucks built through all the losing years with Chris Middleton and Giannis, that is what you have to look at. It's the same thing with the Brewers. The Brewers have built a winning culture. That's the Badgers. That's the Packers. All these teams. If you can't rely on your culture, Steve Kerr just commented on this a couple days ago about the Warriors, about their culture, how they had a rough year and they did a rebuild. That's the same thing with the Patriots. You should have known they were going to come back right away.
Mm-hmm.
They've had the same winning culture for 25 years. Bill has the same mindset every single day. You know, it's pretty crazy to see him hug one of his assistants. But if you didn't know, that is his son who he hugged on the sidelines. So that's probably why he was smiling. But, you know, Bill's been the same guy over in New England forever. You know, you build that culture, that's what you rely on. Giannis or no Giannis, the Bucks know their jobs, they know their roles. Bud is going to put them in position, and if you execute the game plan, then we should win a ton of games and be competing for a title. That's how this works. DeMarcus Cousins is going to be just fine. I just hope and pray that he doesn't get hurt again, because he could be a really, really big piece when and if we get Brook Lopez back. Yeah. Imagine both of them on the floor at the same time.
Dude, all right, let me just throw this out there. Let me just throw this out there. All right, just really quick, just level with me. This is me playing the basketball version of Madden. Let me just say,
so 2K.
Let's just say a lineup of Giannis, Middleton, Bobby Portis, DeMarcus Cousins, and Brook Lopez.
That's absolutely massive. Massive.
You can use Bobby as the 3 because he can stretch the floor and he can shoot the 3.
Well, all of them can shoot the 3 except Cousins, really. But
well, I mean, he's the corner 3.
He can shoot a 3, but you can really take him and kind of put him in the floater area on the baseline if you really want to.
Or you can put him at the free throw line and you run a high, low.
Man, I said that when he first got here. I said that's on the show. I said. And he's a great free throw shooter, and he causes a lot of fouls. Really just say the
yes, James, I said the basketball version of Madden, because when people say, you're playing Madden by saying, put this guy here. Ron, we did talk about Jair Alexander. We said he's practicing this week. I'm 99% sure he's not going to play this week, but we're looking for him to come back in the Baltimore game.
Although I will be at the game, so I wouldn't be upset if he played.
I'd be a little concerned. I wouldn't be upset. Yeah. I'd be concerned.
I think I'm concerned. Yeah.
But yes, James, I said the basketball version of Madden because people say playing Madden as it's not Madden where you can plug and play whatever.
And I tried to correct him. I said 2K. So
yeah, but on 2K, everybody plays if they're my player. They don't play as teams. So
that's very true.
Yeah. Anyways.
Hey, Ron, if you have any other questions, man, just shoot them. We'll answer them. We can backtrack a little bit.
So, as a good transition, you talking about DeMarcus Cousins passing, he had a really, really nice backdoor pass. That's why I said using DeMarcus Cousins at the free throw line. He caught a pass at the free throw line, Thanasis cut backdoor, and threw down a nasty left-handed dunk.
Finasty?
Yes, and he filled in nicely. This is the second game in a row that Giannis didn't play. George Hill and Grayson Allen didn't play in this game, but Thanasis came in, threw down a couple nice dunks, and had 10 points. So I don't know what else you want to say about the Miami Heat game.
Oh, I got some things to say about this Miami game. They beat the brakes off us the first game. So this game, there was no Giannis, no Bam, and no Butler. So this game was a little bit different. But
they're going to be without Bam for 4 to 6 weeks, I think I saw.
I know.
It's a bummer for them.
They might end up in a position where at the end of the year they're kind of fighting, and they might end up in the play-in games now. That's really how I feel. They might drop a ton of games. He said Ron asked the question. He said, when or if can we expect Z Smith back? So Tyler answered that earlier. We didn't hear any other additional news on Z. We only have that cryptic Instagram post that he said where it's about that time. So I would assume either after the Bears game, like early next week, we'll probably hear more on Za'Darius.
The other thing that was said was LaFleur and the team doctors agreed that he should play 2 games before the playoffs. So at the very latest, I would say the Minnesota game.
Yeah, so if he's not back by the Minnesota game, don't think he's going to be coming back this year. But it's not like they really need him. He would be nice, I'm not going to lie, to have a third elite pass rusher, because I think Preston's played very well this year, and obviously Rashawn Gary, I know not a lot of people are big fans of Pro Football Focus, and I'm not as well, but they actually rated Rashawn Gary as our best defensive player on our team this year. So that's kind of something to take away if you want. But Z would be nice, not that we really need him. I got a question from James. He said, are you ready for the rematch on Christmas Day? James, I don't think you're ready for the rematch on Christmas Day, buddy. So I'm going to leave it at that. This Miami and Bucks game I'm going to get back to. I wrote down 4 players. I always write down Chris and Drew and then Bobby. And most of the time I write down Pat. I write down their stats, right? So Middleton had 22, 6, and 9. Drew Holiday had 16, 5, and 7. Bobby had 19 points, 16 rebounds, massive game, 3 assists. And Pat Connaughton had 23 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. So I was like, damn, man, these guys are going crazy, right? So
yeah, they did.
I wrote down all their combined stats, right? So combined, they shot 30 of 60. It's pretty good. They made 14 out of 33 three-pointers because, Pat Connaughton decided to make 7 of them in this game. So total for points, rebounds, assists, they had 80 points, 31 rebounds, and 20 assists. That was our big 4. That's absolutely massive. They grabbed 31 of the Bucks' 57 rebounds. The Bucks have been amazing at rebounding these last couple of weeks. They had 32 assists in this game and 14 turnovers. I mean, the Heat had 29 assists and only 14 turnovers as well, but the rebounding, the Heat only had 39 rebounds to 57.
Yep.
We pounded them on the board.
Dude, 19 offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
26 second chance points.
Yeah, and then just absolutely just insane stuff. The Bucks really brought it to the Heat. So I was really happy that we pounded them without Giannis because I wanted to get them back for that game that they beat us where they were acting like it was Game 6 of the NBA Finals. But, yeah, a great game. Ron asked again, is he coming back next week? Like we said, there's really no confirmation.
Next year.
Oh, next year? Next year?
That might be an off-season question. We're going to have to see what the Packers do with their cap space this
offseason. We got to re-sign Devontae. Jair doesn't need to be re-signed, but they want to extend him. I mean,
we'll have to see what they can do with the cap.
Cap's
going up like $24 million, so we'll see what happens.
The first pillar the first pillar that has to fall is Aaron Rodgers.
And second is Devontae.
So once Aaron Rodgers, commits or decommits, then I guess we'll have to go after Devontae.
Yeah,
and
that's more of an off-season question, I think, is Zadarius Smith.
Yeah, well, that's a wait till we see. There's a lot to unpack with that.
And with the Packers, we had this discussion a little bit. Is the Packers are looking more forward to the postseason than the offseason. So not all teams can say that, especially not in our division.
Well, definitely not the Bears. I'll tell you that right now.
So PJ Tucker got his ring during this game. Wesley Matthews had his first game back with the Bucks, and that's where Jake talks about culture. You bring in guys that are familiar with the culture. Obviously, Jake mentioned Chris and Giannis being here for a long time. And then you bring back George Hill and Wesley Matthews, who are familiar with the culture. Thanasis has been here for 3 years now, I think. Pat Connaughton's been here for 3 years now. I mean, or 4 years, I think. Pat Connaughton's been here for 4 years. Yeah, because he signed a 2-year deal, and now he's on the second year of his 3-year deal. So Pat Connaughton's been here for 4 years. So this is a culture thing. It's there's nothing to think that guys can't come here and contribute and know their roles. That being said, DeMarcus Cousins played this game. He had 11 points in addition to everything that Jake mentioned. And I told you we were going to talk about Pat Connaughton three-point shooting again because he missed that one in the corner that could have won them the Toronto game. And then he came back and shot 7 for 13 on threes. That's nuts. That's
Pat Connaughton, baby.
I love Pat Connaughton. I love he is so awesome for this team. And he's just a great guy. Like, he's awesome. I love Pat Connaughton. Javonte Smart made his NBA debut in this game. Threw in 8 points. I mean,
it looked good, honestly.
And he plays tough defense, and he's ready. He's ready to play defense. He's ready to contribute any way he can. So that's good for him. And then you mentioned that Sandro had a good game against the Toronto, and then he was rewarded with his first start. So guys are getting opportunities while guys are hurt. Brook Lopez says he has a target date in mind, but didn't reveal what it was. So Brook knows when he's looking at coming back. So hopefully it's before the end of the year. And, Jake and I talked about it, that Christmas was going to be, around the time when we were going to do some evaluations with the Bucks. So I think we're still going to stick with that. With this game, Max Strus put in 25 points for Miami. He was giving it all. And then Tyler Hero, who's been a story for potential 6-man of the year consideration. He was only 4 for 17, 1 for 6 on threes. So he was kept in check, which is good. I mentioned Cousins showing off his passing. And then, the rebounding was really, 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 really big for this game. Bobby Portis, I mean, you just can't say enough good things about Bobby Portis. You really can't. He took a discount to stay here. He probably could have got double what the Bucks are giving him this year to stay in a position where, he's embraced by the fans and he's got a chance to win another title.
I mean, you look at his team, man, they're not talked about as much as they really should be, if you really think about it. I mean, people are still talking about the Lakers because they're a big market, still talking about the Nets. People bring up Phoenix all the time. People bring up the Warriors all the time. I mean, nobody's really talking about the Bucks, and that's kind of the way that I want it to stay until playoffs come around. Then they'll start mentioning the Bucks. Before we start talking about this Cavs game, I want to tell you some stats. I got 4 stats. I got 4 things here to tell you. So, since November 17th, that's when people were laughing at the Bucks. Oh, they're fake champions, blah, 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 right? I was hearing it all. Wins and losses since November 17th, we're tied for first, the most wins. Tied for the most wins. Rebounding per game, we're tied for first. Most rebounds per game since November 17th. They brought the physicality back. That is probably a lot of credit to Bobby Portis, I want to say. I'm not going to lie. Bobby Portis has been awesome for the last couple of weeks. Opponent points per game, we are second in the NBA since November 17th. So the defense is back. And the pace. Pace is very important. It's a big stat in the NBA. Pushing the pace, getting easy buckets. The Bucks are third in the NBA.
That's a big deal because when you talk about the Hornets game, they lost that or they won that game, but they shot worse field goals and 3-pointers and free throw percentage. They made more free throws, but they shot a worse percentage. So when you talk about pace and getting more shots, that's how you win games, even when you shoot poorly.
Yep. Pace was actually something I was going to bring up when we talk Badgers basketball. But when I saw the stat, I was like, I got to bring it up, man.
Badgers basketball.
Pace is such an important thing. Pace is something that when you bring up in football, you kind of want it to be slower in some instances because you want to grind out. In basketball, you want a faster pace.
Yep.
You want to get easy buckets and stuff like that, like I said. So, those are all just kind of interesting. I found those earlier, and I was just kind of like, Bulls fans were like, "Oh, you're 10th in the East right now." I'm like, dude, we're like 11 games in. Shut up. You sound like a moron.
And the Bulls are like, "Oh yeah, we beat the Magic twice and the Pelicans twice, and we beat the Raptors and we beat,
And then we beat the Nets, even though they're like terrible on defense right now. And KD's playing 45 minutes per game.
Oh, we beat the Knicks. Oh, cool.
Yeah, congratulations.
You beat like 6 horrible teams, and you beat 4 of them twice.
Yeah, for real, dude. It's whatever. I am going to really enjoy when we absolutely spank them.
Yeah, the Bucks are going to destroy the Bulls as long as they're healthy and everybody's playing.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be one of those like kind of measuring stick games for the Bulls, and the Bucks are going to be like, still your daddy, baby.
Yeah, the measuring stick's a little short on the Chicago side.
I agree with that.
All right, let's talk about this Cavs game, and then I want to talk about a couple of things.
Okay, so Bucks-Cavs. Bucks won this game. Cavaliers are I'll be there. Hey, I was actually looking into tickets at that game, Tim. I want to go to one game with my stepson because that's kind of a thing I want to do with him, like a tradition. So I'm still thinking about that game or the Warriors game when Steph Curry comes to town. I'm looking at tickets, but yeah, those ones are those ones. Oh, those ones are expensive.
Italian? Oh, expensive. I thought
expensive. You can't see me moving. So
no, all I saw was this. I'm like, what? They're Italian?
Well, I mean, they are very nice, I would say. Like I was saying here, this was on Giannis's birthday, his 27th birthday.
He had 27 points on his 27th birthday.
Tim's sister is a Bulls fan since Jordan. Oh God, that sounds exhaustingly annoying. No offense. I've been a fan since Michael Jordan. Yeah, well, what'd you do since Michael Jordan? We had a good year with Derrick Rose. Good job. Anyways, back to the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers have been pretty surprising, actually. They have a rookie from USC, Evan Mobley. That kid's going to be pretty good.
That's Coutinho Mobley's son, isn't it?
I don't know the history. I'm not going to say yes or no.
You talk. I'll look it up.
You look that up. He's pretty good. He's long. He's actually pretty agile. And he's a good rebounder, good finisher. He's got a nice little touch. Once you get his usage rate up and him used to taking the banging of an NBA game every 2 days, solid. I like that he blocks shots too. I just want to give a little bit of love to a draft pick by the Cavs. But anyways, Giannis had 27 points on his 27th birthday in 27 minutes of game time.
Nice.
That is awesome. That is awesome. He had 27, 12, and 5. He was 3 of 3 on three-pointers, so I thought that was pretty sick. Also kind of weird since Chris Middleton was 0 of 4 on threes. So Chris Middleton takes the collar, baseball term, and Giannis goes 3 for 3. What the heck is going on around here? I don't know. Giannis was probably talking trash, saying he was going to catch Middleton in three-pointers after the game. I can't imagine the conversation. But
that'd be funny to hear.
Oh, my God. Giannis has got to be hilarious. Drew Holiday also had a good game. 20.7 rebounds, 8 assists. I love Holiday's all-around game. Yeah, he does everything. He plays defense. He rebounds the ball. He passes. He scores. He's
hitting his threes better this year, too, which is something 100%. We talked about last year.
100%. Bobby had a good game. Back-to-back 16 rebound games. And Pat Connaughton took 4 shots, all of them three-pointers, and he made 3 of them. So that's all you need to know from Pat Connaughton. That's what we need. You go over there, you run around really a lot on defense, and you hit threes, okay? That's all we need. And that's what he did. And like I said, the Cavs have actually been a surprising team, so this was actually a pretty good win for the Bucks at home. Giannis' first game back after missing the last 2, so it was a nice little win, I thought.
So Giannis was also 6 of 7 on free throws in this game.
Yep.
Middleton added in 8 assists. Something I thought was smart by the Cavaliers was putting Lauri Markkanen on Chris Middleton. You could tell it kind of disrupted his flow, having a guy who was bigger than him guarding him. He hasn't really dealt with that a whole lot. So that was credit to Cleveland's coaching staff for putting Lauri Markkanen on Chris Middleton, because it was effective for a little while. I mean, Middleton still got his, but Bucks on a 7-0 run to start the second quarter kind of pulled away, and then they let Cleveland back into it. But then Bobby Portis and his 10 points and 16 rebounds, so you have back-to-back 16 rebound games. Seti Osman took a 3, would have given Cleveland the lead. Bobby Portis grabs the rebound, gets it to Chris Middleton, gets it to Drew Holiday, knocks down a 3, makes it a 5-point game, and the game never gets within 5 for the rest of the game. So they let Cleveland back into it, but then they shut it down. So
yep.
For me, looking at Cleveland, they're a scrappy young team, and Kevin Love.
Yep, pretty much. Well, and they got who's that point guard they got? He played for the Timberwolves and the Suns and shit.
Oh, Ricky Rubio.
Yeah,
he came into the league at like 14, so he's still relatively young. He was playing for Team Spain when he was like 16 years old in the Olympics. I remember.
I know. I remember that too. Came into the league at 14, and then dumb Minnesota drafts him over Steph Curry.
Yeah, then they drafted Johnny Flynn over somebody
and Johnny
too.
Flynn. Yeah, they drafted back-to-back point guards. Neither of them named Steph Curry.
Who did they draft instead of Johnny Flynn?
They took.
I know. Who did they miss out on?
It was Curry.
They drafted Rubio and Johnny Flynn in the same year?
Yes, back-to-back picks too. It was like pick 5 and 6 or whatever. They drafted two point guards, dead serious, and they drafted both the point guards. The 2 point guards that got drafted over Curry.
I mean, in all fairness, Curry had like ankle issues coming out of college, so a lot of people thought his ankles weren't going to hold up. And
I know. I mean, Johnny Flynn
that's
was
the same reason he didn't end up on the Bucks. The Bucks almost traded Andrew Bogut and Steven Jackson to the Warriors for Stephen Curry. That almost happened.
That would have been crazy. Imagine him and Giannis.
Dude, that'd be insane. But Curry had bad ankles, so the Bucks didn't want to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah.
So you already mentioned that the Bucks are still undefeated with the big 3. The other stat that I have, and this is kind of comes full circle to the Bulls. Coach Bud been coaching the Bucks since 2018. The Bucks in that stretch are 43-4 against the Central Division.
Holy camole.
So that's the Bulls, the Pistons, the Pacers, and the Cavaliers. I mean, we know that the Bucks own the Pistons. They're like 18-0 against the Pistons in Budenholzer's coaching, but 43-4 in the Central Division since Budenholzer took over.
That's insanity, bro.
All right. So the Bucks play the Heat tonight. They play the Rockets on Friday. They play the Knicks on Sunday. They play at 11 a.m. on Sunday, which is weird, but so that game will be over before the Packer game. And then they play Monday. They get a rematch against Boston. So, hopefully Giannis plays that game. I mean, none of the big three actually. Yeah, I don't think any of the big three played the first time they played Boston, did they?
Holiday did. Holiday did. Because I remember he started like 0 of 10 from 3.
Oh,
remember
that's
that?
right. He was really bad on threes, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything else you want to say about the Bucks?
Nah, man. They're gonna keep winning. They're gonna keep not getting talked about, and then they're gonna end up in the Eastern Conference Finals, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh my God, the Bucks are still good."
Yeah, shocking.
Oh, shocking.
All right. Hopefully George Hill is back. He's been dealing with I guess on a knee. So a couple things that I want to talk about.
I like G Hill.
Wesley Matthews, since he's been back, he's 2 of 5 on threes and he's +9. So, they're not asking for 2018 Wesley Matthews, who started 67 games. That's not what they're looking for. He's really going to be a reserve. He's going to come in, play some tough defense, and just shoot some threes. So he's kind of going to play the Dante role a little bit. Dante got assigned to the Herd, so Dante's going to get some rehab, which is what he's doing there. I saw people questioning if Dante going to the Herd was because he was going to be used as trade bait. It's like, he's not going to the Herd for trade bait. He's going to the Herd for rehab. And the last thing, the last thing that I want to say, how do you feel about Rodney Hood? Because at this point, I'm willing to just cut him.
What did I tell you a couple weeks ago? I hate that guy. He's literally useless. He's useless, dude. He's terrible. And who the hell was I talking about? I think I was talking about Grayson Allen. I was having a conversation with somebody. I was playing Xbox. I was actually playing the new Halo, and I was talking to Alex and Jason. These are a couple of our buddies. And I was like, can we just take Rodney Hood's body and put it on Grayson Allen? And take his skill set and put it on Rodney Hood? Dude, Rodney Hood's got an NBA body. He's long. He runs smooth. Like, he can get to the rim. But, like, Grayson Allen is, like, actually good at basketball. So, like, there's the difference. Rodney Hood is useless. He's useless, dude. I would let him shoot any three-pointer. Like, when the Bucks get in one of those scenarios where they're moving the ball and the defense is running and everybody's touching it, I wouldn't even run out to Rodney Hood. I could guard him right now. He's terrible.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd be willing to give Thanasis Rodney Hood's minutes because
100%.
At least you're getting that 150% energy on the defensive end. So
you're getting a guy that's going to dive out of bounds and switch and talk.
Give you tons of energy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's not even a question.
Now, the other thing we talked about it a little bit last week was John Wall. And people are questioning, who are you going to get rid of to sign John Wall if he gets bought out? And it's easily Rodney Hood.
100%. Yeah.
The other thing with that is Jordan Nwora was also sent down to the Herd. I don't know if he's going to be called back up or not, but something we need to talk about with Jordan Nwora is he's still a prospect. And don't let Summer League and preseason get you all hyped up and all excited. No, Jordan Nwora is the next Chris Middleton. He's still a prospect. He's got that skill set, but it still needs to develop. And the other thing he needs to do is stop turning the ball over.
Okay, so the one thing I'm going to say is he's got that ceiling. I think that's the word you were looking for. He's got that Chris Middleton ceiling.
Yes.
He does not have that Chris Middleton game yet. It took a while for Chris Middleton to turn into Chris Middleton. Let's be honest. There was a lot of years where we were bad, and Middleton was turning the ball over. He didn't have the passing ability that he has, didn't have the handles that he has now. He wasn't able to handle the pick and roll as well. You know, you gotta dribble in traffic like that with long arms, and these guys have fingers that are twice as long as my fingers.
I mean, passing too.
Yeah, and that I mentioned that his ability. He's really improved in a lot of areas. Defense, he's really improved. He's always been a shooter. That's the same thing with Noir. Noir is a shooter right now. We want him to be a basketball player.
Yes.
Okay? We're not trying to sign specialists. Specialists play on the bench, but I would eventually like to see Noir as a starter. You know? They're investing the time in him where I think that's what he's going to end up being. I would just like to say that it feels good. I'm not cheering for his downfall, but, you know, the entire time when I'm commenting on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that, and I'm saying that he's still a prospect and people are trying to shove down my throat that he needs to start, he needs to get 25 minutes a game, and it's like, he has one good game. You know, he'll have one good game where he shoots like 7 of 8 on threes, right? He'll go absolutely berserk. He'll just be out of his mind. And then the next game, he'll shoot 1 of 7 with 4 turnovers. And his guy will score 15 points. And I'm like, that is why. That's why he's still a prospect. Ups and downs, people. Ups and downs. So.
Yeah. And, you know, it's bad when he plays like 5 minutes and has 4 turnovers. Like, that's.
Yeah. And I like him. I do. I want him to succeed.
I do too. I really like his skill set. Dude, he's got a really, really nice floater.
Oh yeah, he does. And his jumper is butter smooth, baby. And when that thing goes in, it's beautiful.
Yes.
I will not lie about that.
And he's got the size too. I think he's 6'5", 6'6". So, you know,
he's 6'8", honestly.
6'8"? Damn.
Yeah, he's huge. I think he's huge.
So yeah, he is Chris Middleton. He just needs to beef up a little.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have the mid-range game either. He's pretty much floaters and threes. And he's not bad driving to the rim, but he's not going to get to the rim and dunk on people. Like I said, he's more of that floater guy. But let him go play in the herd. Let him ball out in the herd, build some confidence, and, you know, work on stuff. So Jordan Moore is still a prospect. All right. Do you want to say anything else about the Bucks before we talk about the Badgers' one game?
No, sir.
All right. Let's talk about the Badgers.
Okay. So do you want me to start with this Badgers Marquette game, or do you want to go first?
Mm-hmm. No, go ahead. You can do more talking this week.
Okay. 89-76. It was a little bit of game of runs. One thing that I really noticed that's really sticking out this year is Brad Davison. We kind of gave him a hard time on this show last year because he was just kind of flat out bad for a while there. He didn't shoot the ball well. He wasn't aggressive on defense. He wasn't what we were used to when we saw Brad Davison. But this year, man, it's almost like he's been reborn. I mean, he's been an absolute monster. He's had a couple games scoring 20 points. That's pretty crazy. He's averaging almost 16 points per game this year. What were you going to say?
He's embracing the veteran leader role with all the young guys.
Yep. By himself. Not like 9 players who are 22, 23 years old, you know? It's one voice in the room now. It's not clouded with a bunch of different voices. So that's also a big... That was brilliant that you brought that up, by the way. But Johnny Davis, dude, let's not kid ourselves. When you turn on a basketball game, you're looking at number 1. This guy scores in so many different ways, and he doesn't have to shoot the 3. But he's
a 3-level scorer.
He shot 1, he made 1. Yeah, he's a 3-level scorer. He shot 1, made 1, right? But he had a couple layups where it's just like, wow, bro, the body control on this kid, you just see the potential. And his draft stock's just like, it's not like this. It's like this. His draft stock is insane right now. He's going to leave. If he keeps playing like that, he's gone. Because he will be a first-round pick.
He's going to be a first-round pick,
yep. He's got the body. He's got the dribble now.
He hit a nasty step back.
Defense.
He hit a nasty step back. And he did the Giannis
He's going
mug.
crazy. Yeah, he's going crazy, man. And those jerseys on Saturday were freaking sick. Love those jerseys, man. Those are nasty. Chucky Hepburn, though. That kid, man. He is tough. He is fucking tough, dude. I'm not even going to try to not swear, but he's fucking tough. 15 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists. He was a real point guard.
3 steals?
A real point guard. And he was getting in people's faces, man. I love it, man. He'll just get right up there. He's kind of got that little bit of Pat Bev to him where he's kind of like a little annoying. He doesn't have to use his mouth, though, where Pat Bev has to talk. Chucky Hepburn's just in your face for 40 straight minutes, and it's just like, love it, man. He shot 2 of 4 on 3 as well, so that was really nice to see that he can be a 3-and-D guy, finish at the rim. He had a really nice pump fake, waited for the center to go by, and then shot the layup. And I was like, oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But I want to ask you a question. When's the last time you saw the Badgers score 89?
Probably when Frank the Tank and Decker were playing.
Where we were scoring 55 in it. Maybe. I remember the days where they were scoring 55 in a game. They scored 55 in the second half, dude. That's crazy to me.
That's nice.
But
the both teams got out to a slow start.
I'm gonna let you go. Yeah.
So we talked about Tyler Wall a little bit. They weren't really getting him involved in the post, but they were using Stephen Crowell in the post a lot. So I mean, Crowell finished with 15 points and 8 rebounds, so he actually had a pretty nice game. He's really emerging as the lead center. I will say Gilmore struggled on defense and on offense. He was out of position a lot. He doesn't really have great size or speed, so I don't foresee him playing tons of minutes. We had Mike on last week. He was talking about maybe Jacoby Neath getting some more minutes. What I wanted to see was the Badgers break their press a little bit faster. Marquette was doing a lot of pressing, full court press, basically the entire game. I want to see the Badgers break that faster because they got into some positions where they had to take some really tough shots. Brad Davison had to take some really contested threes, and I just wanted to see that press break happen a little faster because every time they were running that press, the Badgers were getting the ball across half court with like 15 to 19 seconds left.
Yeah. And, you're against a team that normally runs pretty slow pace. That's brilliant to do that. I told you that on Saturday. I was like, that's brilliant.
We talked about that. That was a smart move by Shaka Smart.
Mm-hmm. Who's born in Madison, by the way.
Yeah,
if you didn't
Wisconsin,
know that.
Dude, that's a great coaching hire for Marquette. That's a fantastic coaching hire.
And culture is going to be a word that gets brought up a lot. He's going to change the culture of that team pretty quickly. Players like Shaka Smart. He's a player's guy.
Yeah, so, I mean, you kind of hit the nails on the head. I mean, Johnny Davis, he's the man. Brad Davison he's the veteran leader. Chucky Hepburn is the young, scrappy, tough, upstart point guard. And Stephen Crowell's just the guy in the middle. Lynn Bauman hit a really nice crossover in this game, and he hit a jumper. So I'm really hoping that he gets some more opportunity because he's flashing offensively at times. You mentioned the 89 points that were scored. There was only 9 bench points in this game.
I know. It's crazy.
So, and that's with Tyler Wall struggling. So I mean, the Badgers are up to number 22 in the country, and as long as they keep doing these things, they're gonna rise. I just want to continue to kind of give this disclaimer because we thought the Badgers were going to get off to a hot start. They're starting conference play. Jake's going to talk about some of the upcoming games. But, this team's getting a taste of winning. The Maui Invitational helps. That Houston and St. Mary's, those are going to be signature victories. But, I mean, don't be super surprised if the Badgers level out a little bit. Don't treat them like the Badgers football team where it's like, this guy's not the answer. Fire Greg Gard. Get rid of this guy. Get rid of this guy. Like, just give the Badgers a little bit of time. They're a young team. Besides Davison, everybody else is young. And just give the Badgers a little bit of time to work through some of the tough teams that they're going to play in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about young team. Chucky Hepburn is the first freshman point guard to start for the Badgers since Devin Harris. That's crazy. And me and you talked about that, when he came over, like, man, we used to love Devin Harris when we were in high school, man. Like, Devin Harris was the man.
Dude, we were excited. That was like one of the first Badgers that we knew that got drafted.
All right. I mean, Harris,
Michael Finley was out there, but, I mean, we didn't really
grow up with him.
I mean, he got drafted in, I think he might have been in the 96 draft. So I was 3.
Yeah, right. we were.
I
We
mean,
were
this was one
still
of the
shitting
first
our
ones that I
pants.
remember getting drafted.
Right. Um. So, do you want me to move on to games that we're going to be playing in the future here?
Yeah, unless you have anything else you want to say about the Marquette game, I think we kind of covered
Um.
it. So
I mean, Justin. I mean, one last thing as Marquette, I guess. Their leading scorer, Justin Lewis, he averages 16 points per game. He was held to 14 points. So I mean,
I'm
nobody
bummed.
on Marquette really shot well.
I'm bummed that Dawson Garcia left because he looked really good for Marquette last year. But it is what it is. And Theo John is playing with Duke, so well,
Yeah, it is.
stuff happens.
Yes, Marquette's gonna go through a tiny little rebuild, I think. But then I think they're gonna be put back on the map.
They need a point guard.
Yeah, pretty badly. So the Badgers actually start in 9 minutes here. They play Indiana. Indiana, Badgers are on a 5-game win streak. If you didn't know that. Oh no, they're a little bit more than a 5-game. I forgot to write that down. But Indiana has won 4 out of the last 5. Their only loss was in double OT at Syracuse. They lost 112 to 110. That is also the toughest game that they played this year. Indiana, you're going to see they're 7-1. You're going to be like, oh, Indiana's kind of good. They've played nobody. There's Eastern Michigan. There's this little tiny school. I looked at the logo. I was like, who the f*** is that? They've played literally nobody. The only team that they played that I respect is Syracuse. They played at Syracuse. Like I said, they lost that game. So, I mean, they really played nobody. They're still 7-1, I guess. Their best player is Tracy Jackson Davis. He was the leading scorer in 6 of their 8 games. He was the leading rebounder in 4 of their 8 games. And he was their leading assist guy in 3 of their 8 games. So he is a big guy, 6'9", and he's averaging 21 points, 8.6 rebounds, and 1.9 assists. He's averaging 1.9 assists, and he led them in assists for 3 games. Yeah. And the star for us is still Johnny Davis. He's averaging 21, 5, and 2. So, I mean, Johnny's doing his thing, but he's also part of a pretty good team. So now games to look forward to. On Saturday at 11 a.m., the Badgers play against Ohio State at Ohio State. Ohio State is ranked number 21. The Badgers are number 22. That'll be a good game. That'll be a good measuring stick game on the road. I mean, that'll be our first real true road game of the year. So that'll be a big game for us, I think.
Yeah.
Then they play Nicole State. That's a win. They play on the 15th. They play Nicole State. On December 23rd, they play Morgan State. That's also a win. On Wednesday, December 29th, they play Illinois State. That's also a win. And then we finally get to January 3rd. This is the first game in our gauntlet of Big Ten matchups. We play at number 1 Purdue, which is their first time ever being number 1. Congratulations to them. I don't know if they'll be number 1 at that point. I would assume they will because they're probably not playing a lot of tough games in between there like the Badgers. So
Okay.
Wisconsin at Purdue, January 3rd. So that will be a really, really huge game. Purdue is a tough place to play. That gym is, man, I still have memories when I was a little kid of watching them play at Purdue, and it's just a tough place to play, man. Purdue is always pretty good at basketball, so obviously they're number 1 right now. That'll be a good game. So the next couple of games, it's really Indiana. They're nothing special. Ohio State will be tough. They got a couple easy games in between there, and then at Purdue, we start the gauntlet of conference play. So I'm really, really looking forward. This team has a lot of potential. I'm looking to watch Chucky Hepburn grow, man. He might be my favorite player in the team. And that's I want to say Johnny Davis because I love that kid, dude. He's so smooth. He did that up and under move. He did that one where he stepped through and did a lefty floater. I'm like, oh my god.
He had one where he drove with his left hand across the lane and then finished with his right hand.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Yeah, dude, he's disgusting, dude. I mean, and Brad Davison just got to continue shooting.
And what I want to see from Brad Davison, I've criticized him at times. I just want to see him stay engaged when he's not shooting well.
Yep, I agree with that.
So I guess I would say Chucky Hepburn's probably my second favorite player on the team. I'm so happy for him that he got to start at the beginning of the year when we did our Badger primer. I was hoping he was going to get that opportunity, and I'm glad he has, and he's taking advantage of it. So he's playing like he deserves it. So I'm happy for him.
Chucky, oh my god, he's got a great name. First of all, Chucky Hepburn, that's a great name. and he's just a dog, dude. Now, I love players that just they put it out there what they
You can
are.
see that he
and
loves to play
do
when he's playing.
Yeah, I don't know. I just naturally, I think me and you are the same. We just kind of gravitate towards those kinds of players that just they play with heart, man. And he's one of those guys. I can already tell. He's a Midwest guy. He's from Nebraska, so he was Nebraska, Mr. Basketball. So
I think it was twice.
Yeah, but he's just that guy. I just love watching Chucky Hepburn. He's got that one little piece of hair. It's just different color.
Yeah.
He's a good player. I like him.
All right, well.
Over 18-year-old kid right now.
Hey, he did the same thing with Braylon Allen, and he's only 17, so.
Dude, I was pretty right on that one, too.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
He actually, he was named as a
Big
Big Ten all-freshman team, Braylon Allen was, so.
Dude, did you see? Oh, my God, I was pissed. So, they did a NCAA, all-freshman team, and Braylon Allen wasn't on there. They put this is true freshman, which he is. They put the Ohio State true freshman running back on there. I don't remember his name, but I was just like, do you guys understand how disrespectful this is to Braylon Allen? Yeah,
he was
dude,
a 1,000-yard rusher in 7 games.
Yeah, dude, and double-digit touchdowns. What the I don't understand. Whatever. They just love them from Ohio State, I guess.
Apparently they do.
It is what it is. Well,
right,
anyways,
let's go
Badgers. Go Bucks.
And Packers. Yeah, Bucks and Badgers.
Packers isn't for a few games, but Bucks and Badgers.
But keep an eye out on Sunday Sunday. Damn it, I got me all confused. I'm talking about the Packers. Keep an eye out on Friday for Wisco Fanatics Stats of the Week. We've had some fun ones out there, so we're going to keep doing that every Friday, and we'll get some cool stats out there. That's one of the things that we love sharing about on the show is sharing the cool stats and stuff that we find interesting and sharing that with the people that also find it interesting. So our goal is to get to 3,000 followers by the end of the year. We're right around 2,600 right now, so you can see on the bottom right-hand corner our sponsor, Parker Johns. We are also doing giveaways. We have $25 gift certificates to Parker Johns to give away. So keep sharing the show, keep interacting with us, and we'll send you one of those gift certificates. If you're in the Wisconsin area, we can give you one of those. And, keep enjoying the show and sharing us so we can keep growing it and giving you guys those cool, fun stats that we like to dish out.
Yes, sir. I mean, I guess the most important thing is when you follow us, share our videos, man, and share our memes. I mean, it takes a lot of work for us to find some of these stats sometimes. I won't lie. It takes a little bit of digging for me to find some of this stuff, and it's tough with a baby, but I make it happen. And Tyler's over there with 2 kids and a dog and a house, and I would say a wife is a responsibility. I don't want anybody to get mad at me, but all the men in here that see this video are going to agree with me. And the wives are going to be like, well, men are a responsibility too, and I would agree with that. I'm a responsibility for her. But the main point I'm trying to make is share our videos and invite your friends as well. I mean, we want the more the merrier. I love having guys like Ron come in here and ask questions. That's really why we're doing this. I want to answer questions. I try very hard to find all the stats that I can, all the information I can, so I can answer your stuff that if maybe you didn't see something. So share and invite. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and the more people we can get in on the fun, the better. And that's what we're doing. We're having fun. So we like talking about sports, and that's what we want to do. Just talk about sports. So,
dude, we used to sing that one song all the time. I like sports, and I don't care who knows.
The Lonely Island song?
Yes, dude. Dude, I remember singing that in the hallways, Keel High, baby. Oh, man. Good old days, man.
Oh, that's funny. That's good stuff.
Yeah. You were used to singing it like every day, I swear to God, on everything. I'll never forget you singing it. But, yeah. Anyways, share and invite. Go Badgers. Go Bucks. And watch out for those stats, like Tyler said, man.
All right. I'll talk to you soon then, bud.
All right. Hey, get better, buddy.
I'll try.